joining us. It's day 9. Search for Nancy Guthrie. Just in the last hour, Savannah Guthrie posted a brand new video to Instagram. Here is that video.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation.
Joining me now is retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Rob Chadwick and former hostage negotiator Dan O'Shea. Thank you both for being with us here today. Dan, you hear that? What do you hear from Savannah Guthrie?
She's desperate. I mean, we're hours away from this deadline that's been bearing down for the last now 9 days, and it's all coming to a head right now. And so she's feeling the pressure of that, and she's making a direct plea. This is not something she's reading off a prescribed list. This is coming from her heart, and it's hard to watch, and that's why the whole nation is spellbound right now about this abduction right now of her mother.
Rob, the fact that she's by herself, looking directly into her camera, she's off script, she's not sitting with her 2 siblings. People have pointed out the previous 2 videos looked highly choreographed. She was saying phrases, looking down at times to read them, and yet this one, totally different. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me, I mean, first of all, Savannah Guthrie obviously is a seasoned professional. She's handled this incredibly well. The grace that she's handled this, the pressure is unimaginable, especially knowing that your mother is somewhere potentially out there and missing. And so it doesn't surprise me that, she's sort of taken a lead here, almost a champion for the family. But yeah, to your point, it's a heartbreaking video to watch. It is great to see that might be a little bit of hope still there, but things are not looking good.
Rob, I'm going to follow up with you. If you were from the seat that you sit in today, supervisory special agent in the past, so from the seat that you sit in today and what you've seen, the search in the septic tank, down the manhole cover, the revisiting the crime scenes, towing away cars, surely somewhere out there is video. Gosh, I can't imagine, even with the removal of the videos at her house, there are neighbors and so forth. What is the one piece of evidence that you would be focused on, Rob?
Well, the one piece of evidence I keep coming back to, well, there's 2. One, the blood, Mrs. Guthrie's blood at the entryway going out, right? That patterned heading out of the residence. And the time frame, Mr. Clemente earlier talked about 41 minutes or so. Someone was inside that residence, we believe, based on the digital evidence of the pacemaker disconnecting from the phone. This just doesn't come across as a planned kidnapping, right? I believe, if, again, putting on my hat and speculating only based on the evidence available right now, it's a crime gone wrong that wasn't planned. And I believe that these ransom notes, as unorganized and unprofessional as they seem to come across right now, are simply red herrings designed to throw investigators off the track. I believe that is a sad truth, and I hope I'm wrong.
That's an interesting conclusion and certainly flies in the face of what I have, from my very non-expert seat on these types of crimes, speculated today. A crime gone wrong, not professionally organized, is your speculation, Rob. It's just a little shocking that we sit here 9 days later and something so sloppy and haphazard then could be pulled off for that long. I guess maybe I've watched too much crime drama, or maybe I'm too used to crimes getting solved very quickly, but it's just shocking to think that something that could be pulled off haphazardly could be gotten away with even for 9 days. Talk to me about the notes, though, Dan. I mean, you're a hostage negotiator. We're looking at purportedly 2 notes sent to different media organizations. We haven't got to see the exact what's been said in these things, but it's sort of A to C communication, cutting out B. It's not direct communication with law enforcement or the Guthries. Man, I have to imagine that's an impossibility as a negotiator, or to read into who they are, the perpetrators.
Well, I dealt with hundreds of video demands that were coming in from, kidnappings in Iraq, where that Al-Qaeda terrorists would be standing with a gun pointed to the head of the hostage with their demands. They'd make a public demand, but then it was behind the scenes, the demands that were being made directly to the company or the country where that individual is from. And I don't have access to those notes. But again, I agree with my counterpart here, and I've been saying this for quite a number of time, that this doesn't add up. This is not a traditional kidnap for ransom. They have not, 41 minutes in the house, which flies in the face of, if you're going to kidnap someone, you want to get in and out as quickly as possible. The evidence left at the scene, the blood trail, and the fact that they're not negotiating with the family. There's never been any good faith between the kidnappers and the demands to the family. And I think, like he said, it's a red herring. I think that the goal of this was not money. I think this group was about the media attention. They have got the entire world's focus on this story right now, and the ransom demands with the deadlines have driven that media focus. This is my 8th interview, I think, today, and I have 3 more tonight, lining up the interviews tomorrow. I'm talking to Australian, just got off with Australia, Canadian TV, and then all the other networks.
But
and all
Dan,
the,
to what effect?
That's what they want. I think that's what these guys wanted. And they're creating this combobulation. They're making it that much harder for the investigators to go in and do this. They went back in. They've got the best, forensics experts in the planet. The FBI now went back out to the scene after that second note. There is something in that second note that led them to go back to the house, go back to, the relative's house, the sister-in-law or sister's house. But I think that this media circus is distracting, and it's making it even harder for them to pinpoint who is responsible. And I don't necessarily believe the group sending the note are directly connected. They might have a relationship with, but I'm fearful that this might have been, as been alluded to, that this might have been a home invasion that went horribly wrong, and now they're trying to cover their tracks. And what better way than draw all the media attention in the world? Tweets from the president, FBI director showing up in Tucson today. This has been this may be what they're driving at.
I'm not questioning your conclusions, but trying to make sense of them myself as I'm hearing them. Okay, not doing it for the money, not a real demand for ransom, doing it to create more media attention, using media as a distraction, not, if I'm understanding you correctly, not for fame, not for attention. Of course, we don't know who they are. You could argue they're back-end fame or back-end attention once they're caught. But that's not what I hear you saying. I hear you saying using it as a distraction from what? The initial crime we've yet to uncover, which may be what? A murder?
Correct. Yes.
So the initial crime, and I know we're speculating, Dan, and I know that you are as well, but but what you're suggesting is, if I'm adding it up all together correctly here, haphazard crime, not professional, could be somebody that knew her well, could be somebody that knew the house well, goes wrong, ends up in a homicide, and everything after that is simply distraction and circus designed to get in the way of uncovering or solving the initial murder?
Well, and finding those responsible. The noose around them, it may be tightening. Again, we're not getting a lot on the ground. It doesn't seem that the initial response by the local sheriff was to the best level of capability. Now the FBI has been involved. But you've got every asset under the sun. But unless they're not sharing intelligence because they that's typically how this works. My counterpart can certainly answer that better than I. But I believe that this media focus and the media circus around this 5 o'clock deadline it's driving the distraction to this topic. And it may be ultimately what they're looking for in the first place. But again, got to go after the motives. Who would have a reason to go after Savannah Guthrie? Has she done interviews that have caused issues? Is there another story they're trying to get off the news right now? But
you think this ties back to Savannah, Dan? Meaning that some way to influence a national news host on the Today Show?
Well, they could have. There's a lot of wealthy people they could have targeted. Why would they chose, I believe, unless it was, again, potentially a random crime that just so happened to go pear-shaped, but they didn't steal anything off the target, which tells me maybe it wasn't home. But if it went poorly, and again, that amount of blood was pretty significant, and I only saw what was on the doorstep. So I have to go to the worst-case scenario because of my experience with the kidnappers I dealt with.
Right.
So I always go with the presumption that the worst-case scenario is going to happen. But it is all speculation.
Rob, I saw you at times nodding your head along while Dan was speaking. It's a little counterintuitive to me. I'm just being honest about my initial thoughts in that I would think attention is, at the very least, you're trying to thread a tight needle as a criminal, saying, I want just the right amount of attention to distract. I don't want so much attention that the whole nation's law enforcement resources are dedicated to finding me. That's a tough needle to thread. So this distraction matrix thing, I get it, Dan, I get it, but that's a pretty sophisticated plan after a pretty sloppy initial crime, one with a low Again, I don't think you're wrong, Dan. I don't know. I'm just trying to do the calculation. But I did see you nodding along, Rob.
Well, again, but why would you send the initial ransom? Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Not at all. I just want to be very clear. I'm praying that I'm wrong. I'm simply suggesting that the facts of what I see available to us right now are more in line with a potential crime gone wrong. It could have been targeted, could have been random, we don't know. But what we don't see are a traditional kidnapping or designed kidnapping for ransom, then develop, a note arrives through TMZ or through another media station. There's clearly a strong desire to involve as much media as possible here, and it's worked very well. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but the fact pattern is much more in line with a potential crime or unplanned crime that went wrong inside the house, and then maybe it could be someone who's not involved at all with that original crime that has now involved the media in this what has become a worldwide phenomenon, unfortunately. So we'll see. Again, I hope I'm wrong. It's just that if someone were truly invested in trying to recover money for this case, they're going about it in a very, very different way. Now, my hope is, of course, that the FBI and the sheriff's office are playing an entirely different game behind the scenes, and that may very well be. Let's hope that's the case.
Right. Okay, fascinating discussion, and opens my mind up to much more of a world of possibilities. Thank you both, Rob and Dan, for joining us.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.